Hey everyone, welcome back to PT Chat. My name is Dr. Brooke Chirilli. I'm a physical therapist and the owner of HFit Physical Therapy and Wellness in Toccoa, Georgia. In our first episode, we talked about knowing your numbers and understanding what your insurance means, so your copay, your coinsurance, and your co-deductible, how to understand those numbers and make them apply to your financial decision making and picking a healthcare provider. Today we're going to talk about the next steps, and that's referrals, prior authorization, and direct access, specifically to PT in today's case. So the first one is referrals. Now we're all pretty familiar with the referral process. We go to the primary care physician and say, hey doc, I have right knee pain, and they're either going to give you some advice or they're going to refer you out to a specialist, and that might be an orthopedic specialist, or they may say, hey, go try PT first. So you get your referral and you're going to go to physical therapy. Or maybe you've looked at your numbers and you say, I don't really want to deal with my insurance right now. I just want to go straight to physical therapy. I think that's going to help. Now, the good thing is that in all 50 states of the United States, everyone has some form of direct access, meaning you don't necessarily have to have this referral to see a physical therapist. Now, that only applies if you are either, one, your insurance doesn't require a referral, and you're going to have to call them to figure that out, or two, you've decided to forego your insurance and you're just going to go and pay cash or whatever you need. But if you want to use insurance or you want to get reimbursed, you really need to call your insurance and see if they were going to require a referral. That way you aren't surprised when you come back and they're like, no, we didn't approve that. Now, speaking of approvals, even if you have a referral, you either got one from your primary care or you just grabbed one out of necessity or out of, no, you know what I'm trying to say. Got one just in case. You may still need prior authorization. So you now need to go to your insurance and say, hey, I have a referral. I need you to approve an evaluation. So they say, yes, we will approve an evaluation for your right knee pain. You go to a physical therapist. Physical therapist looks at it and says, well, I see that your right knee pain is actually caused by something happening at your hips or your back or somewhere that's not necessarily the knee, but working down the chain is causing knee pain. We write up an evaluation. We explain everything in our evaluation. We send that to insurance. Insurance is going to run that ICD code, that right knee pain, through their algorithm. They might put a few other details into their system, and that's going to spit out a number. Essentially, I'm probably oversimplifying this, but basically spits out a number and says, hey, this typically takes 3 to 6 visits, and insurance is going to say, okay, we're going to approve 4 visits for you in your right knee pain. Now, this really becomes a problem when they authorize visits for very specific codes, because they may send notes later on that explains all the things we're doing at the hip and the back and how that's improving the knee. But when they're reading this, especially if it's someone who doesn't really understand the human body or is only looking at that, computer algorithm, they may say, well, why are you working on the hip and the back? It's a knee problem. And we're going to say, well, we explained why we're working on the hip and the back and how that relates to the knee. But in their mind, well, that's not a knee. And they actually may choose not to approve some of those visits. They may choose not to reimburse some of those visits. So make sure that you are having good conversations and good communication with your insurance and explaining that this is necessary and it is helping me, and I would like it if you would approve it. Sometimes that works. The other thing that the algorithm doesn't really take into account is the rest of your health. So do you have any comorbidities? Do you have any other things that you're dealing with that could also be impacting this right knee pain? Do you have RA, rheumatoid arthritis? Do you have some other systemic inflammation that could be impacting this? Do you have a neurological problem that may also be impacting this? Because that's things that we're really going to take into consideration. And because of those things, you might need more than 4 to 6 visits. They may take a little longer because we're also addressing everything else that's happening in your body. Now, let's say you have chosen to forego insurance. You're like, I'm just not going to deal with all this. And you've decided to take up direct access to your physical therapist. So you can go see your physical therapist. We're going to treat you for the reasons that you need to be seen. We're going to fix your right knee pain, but we're also going to fix all the things happening above and below that may be causing the knee pain. And we're also going to address the rest of the body. So a really good PT, and those of us who have the time and the experience, are going to not only address your pain, we're going to look at your lifestyle factors. We're going to look at your sleep, your nutrition, how are you recovering? What does your normal exercise routine look at? So we're going to look at a lot more than just right knee pain. So just keep these things in mind, again, as you're looking for a healthcare provider and you're trying to figure out, what do I need to get to this? And just make sure you're in communication with your insurance and just saying, need this, everything's taken care of, and that way you can go get the care that you really need. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about all the things that physical therapy can really help you with from a medical and a wellness standpoint, and I can't wait to chat with you guys again.